What up, y'all? This is your boy dmvken, and we are back with another episode of the Alumni podcast. Today, we got three amazing subjects to touch on. The first, does the black man owe the black woman? And number two, what happened to the church? Does the church still have a major voice in the political realm here in the United States? And number three, I want to give some relationship advice. Does the old adage, good guys finish last, still exist? We're going to talk about that. Y'all stick around. This is the Alumni Podcast. It's your boy dmvken. Let's get it. What up, y'all? This is your boy dmvken, aka Ken Supreme, and we are back with another episode of the Alumni Podcast. First, I want to thank y'all for joining me, for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be alerted when we drop content. This is your boy dmvken. Now, I'm at this alone again. Don't fret, my friends. The beautiful Queen V will be back. She is coming back. And when she comes back, you know it's going to be lit because she's been chopping at the bits to come back. And so she's coming. She's coming. Don't worry about it. We going to get Queen V back on. But for now, I got to carry the banner to keep the podcast going because my baby girl is in school. She working hard. She doing her thing. But whenever she finds the time, she hasn't forgotten about y'all. She's excited to come back. But you know that money, that schooling is first. I always been preaching that. Do your thing first, baby girl. And then when you get the time, we'll bring you on back. So don't even worry about it. Queen is coming back. But anyway, let's get right off into story time. Before we jump into our three topics, today we want to talk about a nice little story that I have. Okay? And so I want to chop into this story and I'll explain it. So before y'all get to saying, what is Ken talking about? He got himself in some mess. No. Let me explain the story before we get into it. But I want to drop the title on you first. And the title to this story today is going to be, should I toss this number away? Or should I make the call? Once again, should I toss this number away? Or should I make the call? Let's get into story time. So, about 13, I feel like it was like 13 years ago when Nita and I, and we had Maine at the time. It was just us three, and we moved to Virginia for the very first time, the Hampton Roads area. We was living in Norfolk, Virginia. And when I moved to Norfolk, Virginia, I was looking for work. Fresh out of the military, looking for work. Nita was going to school at the prestigious Old Dominion University. And she was still working on her nursing degree to become a commissioned officer. And so we were here, stationed in Norfolk, Virginia. She was going to school, and I was in the process, a young man fresh out of the military. And I was looking for a job. And I was applying for multiple things. And I finally found the job as a prayer line call center worker for the 700 Club over at CBN Regent University. So I got that job, went applied for it, interviewed. I'm going backwards a little bit with that. But anyway, interviewed for the job, ended up being accepted for the job, and ended up doing that job part-time. I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. I love to sit on the phone and mingle with the folks and talk to them and pray and hear about their situations and try to help them find their way through it. Help them find the light at the end of the tunnel. Let them know it's not a train coming. It's a light at the end of that tunnel. Love the job. And so I did that job for about 3 months, I believe, part-time, while working at, I think I was also working at Tidewater Community College in Chesapeake. Okay. So I was working 2 jobs, and I was working that job in the evening time, and I was taking calls, and I had some pretty intense, weird calls. I had some great calls, a lot of experience, but there's one particular thing that I always remember. There was a particular young man that used to call And I remember the very first time that he called. And one thing I know, he is from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I remember it like it was yesterday. And he used to call from an unmarked number. The only thing that I can see was Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so one time the young man called me. This was the first time I remember speaking to him to where things went left. So he came to me and he asked me, I want you to pray for me and my girl. And he wanted me to pray that they had good relations that night, if you know where I'm going, that it would be awesome. And I was like, well, are y'all married? And he was like, no, we're not married. We just want to have good, you know what, right? And I'm going to keep it PG. I don't know who's listening. But anyway, they wanted to have good relations. And so I told him, well, brother, you asking me to pray something that I don't know if it's biblical. So I said, but I'll pray for you and your girlfriend. And I prayed for them. And I pray that God will bless them and help them, I pray that God will be upon them and that they would find God in the midst of their relationship and all those things that that trying to get them on the right track. He didn't like that too much, but anyway, that ended our call. So I remember the next time he called me, Minneapolis, Minnesota pops up on the phone about a week later or so, and it's him again, and he's saying that, okay, I want you to pray for me to get $5 million by tomorrow. And I was like, okay. I was like, oh, let's pray. And I was like, God, may you bless this man with a financial blessing. He stopped me mid-prayer. Hey, I didn't say I want a financial blessing. Don't be using that church lingo with me. I said I wanted $5 million by tomorrow. Right? And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. He's a troll. Right. And this was before the word troll was even popular. So I didn't necessarily say he was a troll. But now in my thinking now, I knew like, oh, this guy's joking around. He's one of them antagonizers. He's a troll. So I get on and I said, bro, like, I'm praying for you. Let me pray. You can interpret it. No, I want you to pray exactly what I want you to pray. I know God is capable of doing all things. But I know what this guy was doing because he did it to me before. So he was just trying to troll and trying to be an antagonist. So I said, bro, stop letting the devil use you. And I disconnected the call. Oh, why did I do that? He did not like that. So about 2.5 weeks later, I get a call, pick it up, and it's him. And when I said, this is Ken, he said, oh, yeah, Ken, this is I remember the last time you hung up on me and told me, don't let the devil use you. He said, you know what? I want to say this to you. You were blue, 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 blue. When I tell you this man called me everything but a child of God. When I tell you this man cussed me out so bad, I ain't never been cussed out like that in my life. And then before I could even respond, boom, he hung up the phone on me. And I was like, dang. And you could be in the spirit, but when somebody says some nasty things to you, like this man said to me, a little bit of that old side come out of you. Maybe a lot of that old side come out of you. And I was turned. I was mad. But he hung up on me. What else could I do? And he called from an unmarked number. All right, Minneapolis, Minnesota, got you. So I had to let it go because I got to keep doing my job. I got to keep praying for these folks that need prayer, right? So another week goes by and I get another call and Minneapolis, Minnesota pops. And I don't ever recognize it's him until after he starts cussing me out. And I look down at the call ID and I see Minneapolis, Minnesota, unmarked number. So I pick up the phone. This is Ken, CBN 700 Club. This is Ken. How can I help you? Oh, this is Ken the B. Yeah, I don't need to talk to no B's today. Click. Oh, man, got me. I couldn't even respond. I couldn't do nothing. So about 2 more times this man called me from an unmarked number, and every time I picked up the phone, he would cuss me out, do it really quick, and then boom, hang up on me. But one particular time, he slipped up. One time, he slipped up. He called me from a marked number. Now I have a number that I can identify to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so when I pick up the phone, and I didn't recognize it was him until after he starts cussing me out. Bleep, 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 you this, bleep, you that, and I don't ever want to talk to you. I don't know why I keep, and as he's cussing me out, I look down expecting to see Minneapolis, Minnesota unmarked. Only to my surprise to find out that Minneapolis, Minnesota made an error. He called me from a marked number. And then quickly, as he's cussing me out, I quickly write down the number. And I have it now. And I am thinking in my mind, I am going to get you when I get off this clock. You are going to get a call from me, and we gonna handle our business over the phone. And so I had that number, and I tucked it away. And I waited till I was done with work. And typically, once we got after work, I would go and pray with a group of co-workers that we would go down to the chapel area. I would get on the piano and play the only 3 songs that I knew. And we would get in there. We would pray, and the Spirit would be moving. And so after prayer, my whole spirit was changed. And I didn't want to do what I thought wasn't right. So I said, I'm not going to call Minneapolis, Minnesota, because I was also thinking that if I call him and he called back and he calls my supervisor or whatever, and I could be out of a job. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to be in violation of any type. I was probably in violation by writing the man's number down anyway. So I tucked the number away and I didn't call him. And as you would imagine, I would get him a couple of more times that he would call from his unmarked number, cuss me out, and hang up. But what he didn't know, what you don't know if you're ever listening to this Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is Ken from CBN 700 Club. About 13 years ago, the man you cussed out viciously on many occasions through my 3 months of working over at CBN. I got your number. I still have it to this day. Because even though I didn't call you, I still tucked your number away. I still have it locked away. I still have it. And every day I think about this. Every time this crosses my mind, Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm thinking about giving you a call. Because back then, I was a little bit more fresher and newer in my walk. I was probably a little bit more spiritual back then. But now, after multiple years, and I'm not saying I'm far from the faith and I'm all jacked up, but I'm a little bit more rugged around the edges, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Been through some things, seen some things, dealt with some people. I'm a social worker, right? I deal with people that have problems all the time. I get cussed out all the time. I go through situations all the time when I'm dealing with people that just don't like me. So often, Minneapolis, Minnesota, because you're still sitting negatively on my spirit, I am tempted to call you and handle this situation that we had. I got this beef with you, Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's been on my spirit for 13 years that I ain't dealt with. And so I want you to know I still have your number. And that any day you can get a call from me, Minneapolis, Minnesota, or somebody that lives at that number might get a negative call from me because of you. So, Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm going to listen to my subscribers. If they tell me to let it be, then I'm just going to chill and continue to let it be and just try to deal with this thing on my spirit. But if they tell me to give your butt a call, you gonna be hearing from me by the end of this month. And we gonna deal with this 13-year beef that I got with you. Because you may be over it, but I'm not. Because you cussed me out at least 14 to 15 times during my 3-month stint at CBN. But guess what? I want you to know, and if you ever come across this, I want you to know that I got your number because you slipped up. You slipped up and I got you. And because I got you, son, I just might get you. That's been story time. Appreciate y'all listening. Let's get into these topics. All right, so let's talk about this. I want to talk about, does the black man owe the black woman? And I want you to understand, because I know I have my pro men podcasters out there. I know I have my no lacking kings, no simp squad out there. I got you, my man. I got you. And I want y'all to know that I don't ever take any position 100%. I'm always open to discussion. I'm always open to have conversation and hear other perspectives. In that back and forth, we pose questions to each other. We pose ideals to each other. And then we have a conversation about it, and hopefully we can come to a solution, to agree, maybe agree to disagree, find some common ground. But I do want to talk about, does the black man owe the black woman? And I have to take this back to slavery, because I know as black people, black men, we talk a lot about the emotional, the psychological, the multicultural trauma that we experience, or that our ancestors experienced, that is prevalent even in today's society. Like, we're still feeling the impacts of slavery, of our people being held captive, even to this day. And so I wanted to talk about that and kind of lead it into today, right? So let's look at this from that perspective. Back when our ancestors were slaves, during that time, they were separated forcefully from their families. Our black women were raped by their slave masters. Their children were snatched and sold. The husband was beat in front of his wife and his children. He was demoralized. He had his manhood stripped away, demasculated. He served another man. He called another man openly master. Dehumanized, demoralized, and pretty much had his manhood stripped away in front of his black woman and his children. And it went on for generation to generation to generation. And it was nothing that he did about it or could do about it at that time. And so now, in today's society, some men, which come from the pro-man community, the no simping community, the no lacking kings out there. A woman should know her place, that's what they say. A woman should honor and respect a man and follow his lead and do what he says. Should honor and respect him, should not talk back to him, should not cause problems or give him headaches. Should be, I get it. But I do pose the question that, when do we as men take responsibility for the emotional, psychological trauma that our women have suffered because of the history of slavery? Or our children have suffered because of the history of slavery, right? Because then the man couldn't protect his wife, or chose not to. Submitted himself to another man and called another man master, while that man whom he called master raped his women and beat his children and beat him in front of him and demasculated him and dehumanized him. How could she hold respect for him when she saw what he allowed? And I know, and again, this is not to disrespect, because there was a like my man from Black Panther said, He said, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors, because they knew that death was greater than being a prisoner in jail or captive or slave. So if our women, our black women, saw how our men were treated, dehumanized, demasculated, demoralized, we allowed them to be raped and mistreated and beat and abused. That's still psychological, emotional, multicultural trauma that travels from generation to generation to generation to generation and causes a separation, a decline in respect, anger that still lies within the black woman. So as black men, we can demand a lot of things. We can lay a lot of things upon a black woman and say, we demand you do this, this, and that you should treat us like this, and you should. But we also have to hold the responsibility to understand. See, this is why it's important that we understand mental health. It's important that we understand trauma, generational trauma. It's important that we understand it, because you can't demand something from somebody and you don't understand it. It's just a saying that white folks tell black people to get over slavery all the time. I'm like, well, you can't say that because you don't understand generational trauma. And as black men, we have to understand generational trauma to our women. And so just as we're telling them, get over it, do what you're supposed to do as a woman, submit, be my help me, be my rib, be my support. Don't give me headaches or problems or talk back. Just do what I ask you to do. But we have to be knowledgeable, understanding, and sensitive to the trauma that was caused by them seeing us demasculated, dehumanized, that we, our ancestors, called another man master. And that master raped, brutalized, and abused our women and our children. And we did nothing. So does the black man owe the black woman? Are we still recovering from the generational trauma of slavery and the damage that is done in the black community between black men and black women? I'm posing the question. I'm just asking. I'm not saying, I'm just asking. Let me know. Do we owe them? Or do we need to make strides in letting them know, bringing back confidence that we can protect them, that we still are willing to give our lives to them, that we're still willing to build them up, that we're still willing to do all those things. Now, I get it, man. We got a lot to recover from as a people. We have a lot that we have to rebound because we've been divided for so many years that we are at war with each other, it almost feels, in the black community. But as men, we have to take the lead into repairing this thing. We can't sit back and say, hey, women, you need to fall in line. Nah, bro, we have to take the lead in the efforts to repair our relationship with the black woman. We have to, man. It's our responsibility. So I'm just posing the question. I'm just asking. Y'all let me know. So let's talk about the church now. I want to know what happened to the voice of the church in a political realm, right? Because one of the things that I do, we're in Black History Month, month of February. And every Black History Month, one of the things that I love to rewatch is Eyes on the Prize. I love watching that documentary series, PBS series. I think it is the most comprehensive document that tells the story of our history during the civil rights movements, post-civil rights movements, the Black Panther years, and just our fight for freedom and justice. Love, Eyes on the Prize. It's a very old series, very old, black and white almost, but very, very comprehensive, very, very accurate, not watered down like a lot of stuff that you'll find on YouTube and things today. But you will find Eyes on the Prize on YouTube. Amazing series. I definitely would recommend that anybody with children at least have their children watch it once a year. I think it's like 17 episodes, but very, very accurate, very, very comprehensive to our telling the story of our history. And so I want to talk about, one of the things that I remember vividly during that series is the power that, during the civil rights movements, right around the beginning stages of it, when we called on Dr. King to lead the movement. And I remember how powerful the voice of the church was, Reverend Abernathy and Reverend Jackson, and how powerful the voice of the church was when it came to political issues in the black community. I remember in every community, the church had such a strong voice. They were the leaders when we needed social justice and economic justice and social change and economic change. It wasn't rappers. It wasn't musicians. I mean, it was in some athletes would step, you had athletes like Muhammad Ali and, Jim Brown and guys that were, guys that would step up and be, what's the word that I'm looking for? That would be activists. Yes, there were activists for our movement. But it was the church. It was the church that had the most impactful voice to help motivate and galvanize our people to fight for social justice and economic change and voting rights and things like that. And now I look in today's society when we're dealing with black on black crime, and we're dealing with police brutality, and we're dealing with low economics and low business ownership in our communities and things like that. And now we have rappers, and I'm not knocking rappers, but we have rappers and entertainers and things like that are now jumped because we have no structure. We have no one person that we can identify as the leader, as the voice of our people. And so our people are always asking, what has the Democrats done for our people? What are we asking for? Collectively, not everybody having their own agendas and asking for something, and it's just a million things out there saying we want this to be in our community, but one collective voice. Who is our representative? Like our great-grandparents had Dr. King, and who is our who is our Huey P. Newton? Who is our voice? A rapper? Somebody who helped destroy our community is now the advocate for social change? Doesn't make any sense. How are they going to take us seriously? And so my issue is like, where's the church at in these times? How have we as a community, how have our faith community been so watered down, has been so silent, has been so cast to the side, that they no longer have a strong voice in the political realm, in the social justice realm? And that worries me, that the wrong people are the voice for our community because they're not being taken seriously. Who's going to galvanize our people? And so I'm asking, where's the church? Have we gotten so caught up in our own selfishness and our own pride? Have we gotten so caught up in just caring about our growth and our membership? Or we're holier than thou, we're better than thou, and woe is them sinners? I'm like, where have we lost our voice when it comes to issues on social justice, police brutality, economic change in our community, building wealth in our community, ownership, stopping black on black crime, and stopping the mistreatment of our women and the over sexualization of our women. Like, where is our voice in our community? Look at the homelessness issues that we're dealing with in our inner cities. The drug problems that we're dealing with in our inner cities. Where is the church at when it comes to matters like this? Where have our voice gone? Somebody help me understand what's going on here. Because I see a lot of people posting on social media, but who's actually out on the ground running with hands to the plow, working to help change the dynamic of our community? When will we reclaim our voice in the political realm, in the social justice realm, in the economic realm? When will we reclaim our voice? Because back in our great-grandparents' days, the church had a voice that was so powerful that a Dr. King was invited to the White House to sit down with the sitting president. Now, if black preachers go sit down with the sitting president where number 45 was in, they were called sellouts, and you didn't even want them to go sit down with this man. So I'm not understanding, like, who do we take our direction from? Who's that one singular voice that we can go to and say, these are our concerns, these are our issues, these are the changes that we want, and that person being respected, having good moral character, having a good background, can go and speak on behalf of our people, somebody respected in our community. Somebody that can't be bought and sold, lock, stock, and barrel. Somebody that can't start off pure, and then you have these conglomerates and these major mobile companies get behind them and push them and start to change and water them down. Like somebody that's solely willing to give their life, their career, everything. Like a Dr. King, like a Malcolm X, like a Medgar Evers. Somebody that love our people enough to risk everything. Like a Marcus Garvey. Not understanding where did we lose our voice? Where did we lose the love for our own people? Where did this hatred come from? Y'all share with me. Y'all let me know, because I'm just talking. I'm asking the questions here. I want to hear the answers. Like my man Kanye say, you got the answers, Sway? You ain't got that? Somebody got to have the answers. If it ain't Sway, somebody got to have the answers. I got the questions. If you got the answers, y'all let me know. Help me. Help the people. What happened to the church when it comes to economics, social justice, police brutality, political? What happened to our voice? I'm just asking the questions. All right, so let's get into the last topic, and we're going to talk about nice guys finishing last. So, sisters, I gotta get on y'all just a tad bit. I've been dealt with my brothers earlier in the podcast, so I gotta talk to my sisters, because why is this still a thing? Why is this still a thing in our community, in society, just generally in society? Why is this still a thing that nice guys finish last? Why do you like the men that mistreat you, the men that misuse you, the men that abuse you? Why do you like it? And I'm talking about not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. Why do you like it? Why do you keep coming back for more punishment? When they're like, women always say, I'm not going to say women always say, but I hear this a lot. I apologize. Don't mean to say women always say. Again, my mama always taught me never to speak on behalf of a woman because I'm not one. So I eliminate those things from my vocabulary. Women say, or most women want, or nah. I don't know that because I'm not a woman. I'm a man. So I hear a lot that there's no good men left, or there's no good men out there, or all men are cheaters, and etc. All those things. Probably. But there are good men out here. The problem is that nobody wants the good man until you done already had your fun with the ones that mistreat you and misuse you. Once you've had your fun with them, and then you come look for the good guy, the guy that's going to raise your child as his own, the one that's going to do his very best to take care of you and to support you emotionally, financially, spiritually. There are nice guys out there, but they just finishing last. Why is it still a thing? Why go through all that heartache and trauma and then lay all that on the good dude to have to repair and recover all that trauma that you allow by dealing with the dude that mistreats you and misuse you and do you dirty? That's an issue for me. That's an issue for the brothers. And so this is why I don't go in on my no lacking kings and my pro men brothers, and because again, they have probably been scarred that way. They've probably seen this, and so they feel that certain type of way, and they have a right to feel that type of way because this is true. I mean, we can't ignore the fact that men could do great things and still be cast to the side by desirable women, and then those same desirable women come after those good guys once they're done being misused and abused and mistreated by the ones that do that to them. So it's important that we look within our own selves and our own community and what are you choosing? Because we all have choices in life. Nothing happens strictly by accident. We all have choice. We all have freedom of choice and freedom of will. We make the decision on whether we say yes or whether we say no, whether we go or whether we stay. You have a choice. So if you choose to be a part of somebody that's going to use you or misuse you or treat you, then you don't have the right to say there's no good men when you have ignored them. Because they're there. They're waiting. They will treat you right. It's plenty of. Every year when I was in Washington State, I went to the daddy-daughter dance and took my girls there and saw a bunch of good men with their baby girls, teaching them this is the way it should be. This is the way a man should treat you. This is the way a man should see you. They're teaching them at a young age. It's up to you to hold on to that. Don't go by what your dad, those good men that are at this daddy-daughter dance. And again, I don't know what's going on outside of it, but there's a good look. If he's showing you the way, that's what you go by. You don't go by what you're seeing on the internet or what music is telling you. Go by the example that's being set by the man that's been present in your life on a daily, consistent basis. There are good men trying to show the way, set an example of what a man should do, how a man should treat a woman. And we're teaching our daughters at a young age. And it's up to them that when they get older, ladies, don't stray away from what you've been taught. Even if it's not your father, there's somebody in your life, hopefully, and I'm not saying for all cases, somebody that you can identify as a positive role model, a positive man in your life. Somebody that hopefully treats your mother or whoever's your caregiver in a positive light. And as fathers, it's important that we don't mistreat the women in our lives, because our daughters are watching, our sons are watching. And all behavior is learned. So it's important that we treat the women in our lives, whether it be our wives or our daughters or anybody in our household, that we treat them, and our parents, our mothers. And it's important that we treat them with respect, love, and honor. And it's important that our women see those positive men in our community, and those become the more desirable ones and not the ones that are mistreating and misusing. So good brothers are still here. They are still prevalent in our community. They have to become the more desirable ones, man. And it's really up to you ladies, man. Y'all have to change that dynamic, because you're that control, that power is in your hands. It's just like any species. Men will fight for the affection of their females. They will go to war for the affection of their females. They'll go to war for the honor and the privilege and the right to mate. So you have more power than you can possibly imagine. You have the power of choice. Women have built and brought down kingdoms. Never lose the knowledge and understanding of the power that you have, and that power is the power of choice. You choose whom you're going to give the time and day to. It's up to you. So nice guys finishing last is because y'all have set the course, my ladies. So if you want to change the results, you have to change the rules, you have to change the layout, you have to change the way you choose your men. Hey, this has been your boy dmvken, aka KB Supreme, and this has been episode number 8 of the Alumni Podcast. I appreciate y'all sticking around with your boy and tuning in. Go ahead again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button more importantly, and go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know what y'all thought of our conversation today. If you got the answer, sway, give them to me down in the comment section. I appreciate everybody that commented, that liked it on the last podcast. Brothers that dropped video links to their own videos, kind of giving me their perspective on some of the things that I spoke about. I appreciate that, man. I checked that video out, my man. Good work. Appreciate it. So y'all let me know what's good. I appreciate it. Go ahead. Hit your boy up down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Queen V should be back. She's coming back. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm not lying to you. She's coming back. All right. Y'all go ahead. Take care of your boy. Hit that subscribe button. This has been your boy, dmvken. This has been the Alumni Podcast, episode number 8. I see y'all next time. Peace, love, and happiness, family. I'm